Welcome back to part 2 of GUID examples, globally unique identifier examples. Now what I want to do here is let's just clear the screen. All right, I'm just going to click here. I'm going to hit Control A and just hit delete and clear everybody off. And let's go back and let's create a new table now. Easiest way to do this. We're going to call this default goods. And I'm going to do an ID column. Notice it's a unique identifier data type, but I'm going to put the default keyword here, and I'm going to call new ID. Then, got to put a comma, last name, varchar 40, first name, varchar 40, and I'll start copying and pasting so you don't have to watch me on all of this stuff through this video. And so there is our table, okay? And I've got the wrong one there. There we go, that looks better. And so let's execute that. So we now have a table out there called default GUIDs, and the ID column has a default. If we don't mention inserting anything there on a row insert, it will do new ID for us. All right, and so let's do an insert right quick. We'll insert into default goods. And since we're not going to insert into the ID column, we're going to have to mention our column names, right? Then we're going to do values, and we're just going to put Smith John, because we're doing last name, then first name, just like that. Now, I will insert that into that, and there it goes. And now I'm going to scroll down, and we will select from the table that we created and then inserted into. And notice it inserted a GUID, a globally unique identifier there without us mentioning it because we had that default here. And since we didn't mention this column on the insert, it defaulted a new ID in there. So that's the new ID. Now I'm going to delete all that one more time. Let's talk about how we can use the new sequential ID. Now, notice I'm going to create a table here called SEQ GUID for sequential globally unique identifier. And notice I'm creating the same columns. It's an ID column in this table, the unique identifier data type, the default, but notice it's new sequential ID, and I'm putting last name and first name. Now, I'm going to do an insert just like I did before, and I'll copy that in. Notice we're inserting into our SEQ GUID. And now I am going to add just a couple more names here. Okay, so we're going to add, and I'm going to copy and paste to make this go a little faster. And let's see, let's do Smith John James. So it'll be Harold James, and then Ashley Jones. All right, so we're putting in 3 rows. I hope you can see that. So we're going to insert, we're going to drop 3 rows, and oh, I never created my table, did I? Okay, so let's go create our table. There we go, command completed. Let me make that go away so you can see. Now, hard to insert into a table that's not there. Now we can insert, 3 rows were affected. I'll make that go away. And let me jump down there and let's select from our table. And notice they are sequential. F6F, 4B, and you can read them, F7F, F8F, and so they're going to be sequential now, all right? Now, again, the sequential ID, you need to be aware of that for the exam, the new sequential ID. They will ask you about that. They will expect you to know what it does, but I want to show you something here. I'm just going to make the last name A, the last name B, the last name C so that we can see it, and I will insert again. And let's go look and see if those 3 rows continue to be sequential. They're sequential, but notice they didn't go sequential like you would think. And this has been kind of a challenge and a problem. Just be aware of this. Go read about new sequential ID. Know what it does. Don't worry about some of the challenges with using it, but just know the advantage of using this based on Microsoft's documentation. They are sequential. It would make it easier on certain actions with your database, but just know the difference between new sequential ID and just new ID. You've seen both of those in examples here. You should be okay. Play with these, work with these examples, and get comfortable with this idea of global unique identifiers.